a bottle of...
Oh, shit. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Where the hell is the fucking Hall of Fame?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
How dare you say such things about a widow?
Did she eat the corpse?
Right. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it flow into me. I can see inside you the sickness is rising.
I think he's some kind of darky.
Seems that all that was good has died.
He living in my coattail.
Oh no, the world is a scary place.
Quiet down on the Christmas show, for fuck's sake!
Now that you've woken up the demon in me.
Whose idea was this?
Why?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Hello?
Mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You
Sit on my face.
fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Go, get it.
Open up your hate and let it flow into me. Why can't you just fuck up and die, get down with the sickness?
That's it, you.
I can't believe this shit, I'm down with the sickness. You do it to this, you can feel the fucking organ. Down with the sickness.
He got out.
Here it comes. Get ready to die. Get ready to fuckers.
Die.
Kids, we're out of time. I can't even believe that we made it this far. I'm tired.
Let's quit.
We didn't play any songs or drops today. Not a single one.
Fuck you, Anchor.
Anchor was so mad that we didn't play any drops.
Yeah, from Los Angeles.
It ruined the show, he said.
What a shithead.
We were in Los Angeles with no ability to play any songs or drops.
There's a small box on the table, smaller than a typical cell phone, and we were all kind of leaning over and speaking into it.
And Anchor was angry that the show had been ruined by no drops or songs.
Next time, Anchor, we won't do a show, we'll just hang out in the pool more.
Sure, yeah. When I say who could watch TNA, I think to myself, the only people that could watch TNA are people that cut themselves.
I'm sorry, that subject matter's not funny, but in that context, that was a very funny thing to say.
Well, I'm just saying, like, people that have serious self-loathing issues.
They feel they've done something wrong and they must be punished.
That's the only type of people that I can imagine watching TNA. There's a big TNA surprise coming up. There's like a surprise every month. Who the fuck could possibly care about this one? Especially when the surprise is they're going to 2 hours, which, again, threat, punishment, pain, horror.
Who wants to take another hour? Who wants to double the amount of hours they spend per week on
Who can
Impact?
watch 2 hours of this program?
I don't know. I don't think I can. I'll tell you that much. I may just start bringing liquor.
There needs to be liquor or drugs in this house for 2 hour impacts. That may be the new decree that drugs must be taken.
No one of a right mind can possibly watch this show.
It's impossible to watch this in a normal state of mind.
Let alone 2 hours.
There's going to be a change, and it may not be a legal one. TNA, I have a feeling, judging from Vince's violent reactions, which are unacceptable, have brought him great sadness.
It brought me great rage.
Vince, you have to stop hitting the floor, though. If you put a hole in my floor underneath and I have to tear out the carpet to repair it, it's going to come out of your ass.
I don't blame you.
So don't break anything.
TNA drives me to anger.
Well,
it drives me to a point where I have to break something. Now listen.
That's your own problem.
Yes.
Okay, as long as we got that straight.
Yeah.
TNA brings me to rage too, but I don't break anything. I don't.
Well, you
violent acts.
You have a better way of channeling your anger. People
a better way of channeling my inner peace.
Yes. People are probably not expecting me to have a great rant on the show. I can't do it. I'm emotionally drained. I snapped about 40 minutes into the pay-per-view tonight. maybe a little longer.
If I would have had a pellet gun, I would have shot you.
I would have.
I was a little worried that you were going to escape.
I was not. I was slapping the floor with my hand, with my palm. So the odds of me actually damaging your carpet in any way are very, very slim. I may have popped a blood vessel. I'm not sure. It hurt bad. But I get.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about this
There's
rage?
anything to kill, so I had to hit something.
You know what's funny about this rage that you had about this pay-per-view? What's funny is that there's a lot of stuff about TNA that is really bad. A lot of stuff that sucks massively. However, if you take all of the shit out that really sucked, this was actually a pretty damn good pay-per-view, all things considered.
I suspect you are right.
You were blinded by your rage.
That's the exact word, blinded.
Now listen, everybody.
And the funny thing is, by the way, I went into this with low expectations. Usually when you go into something with low expectations, you're surprised at how good it is and you enjoy it. No. I went in with low expectations and it is soared beneath them.
Wow.
Yes.
This was actually a pretty good show. I will start off with some heavy criticisms. First off, as mentioned many times, the booking actually on this show was fine for the most part, but still, these bookers need to be replaced immediately.
And killed. One good show,
Jesus Christ. One good show out of 8 in the last 2 months, unacceptable. That is a below F if we were in school right now. That is well below 50% or whatever an F is. So, failure. These people need to be replaced. The director of this show, David Sahadi...
Oh, that motherfucker.
I realized that David Sahadi in WWE did some fantastic stuff. And even early on in TNA, he did some fantastic stuff. No longer fantastic. It's the same... It's the exact same video package for every match on every show. A deep-voiced James Earl Jones impersonator trying to make matches that we know suck... sound more important than they actually are. And worst of all, he's the director of this show, and as mentioned many times, I've never seen a worse director, and I've worked on student films, so I've been around a lot of first-time directors. He's worse than all of them. I have never seen anyone so bad. Let me tell you how bad he was.
He's the one who set me off.
He not only missed the finish of the Pac-Man Jones match.
Yes.
When Pac-Man Jones got the pin on Sting... and this was the shot that was supposed to end up on SportsCenter, he missed it.
Yes.
He was elsewhere. He also happened to miss the finish of the main event. When the Miz tapped out clean, he was elsewhere.
You piece of shit. Quit your job. Have some pride. Acknowledge you suck and quit. Go home. Leave the business forever. He directs this shit like he's never watched wrestling before. He's been doing it for like 8 years. One man will grab his opponent and lift him up for a move, and he will cut to a close-up, thinking perhaps they will strike a pose there for 8 to 10 seconds. No, you motherfucker! When he lifts the guy up, he's going to slam him back down, perhaps onto his head, and we missed it.
Yeah, we did miss a good pile driver.
Yeah.
There was a spot.
Get to it, but...
When I was a little kid, when I was like 12, 13 years old, I actually had some wrestling figures, believe it or not, in a little ring. And I would have them do these wacky... I would make up moves that they could do. And I actually invented a move, which was before its time, where you'd lift a man up onto his... It was like a kryptonite crunch, except he'd just be, he would be... His legs would be around... sounds horrible. I was 13, come on now. His legs were around...
That makes it okay to be gay?
Legs were around your head, but his torso was going down your back, so his head
his face was where, Brian?
His head was at your ass.
Correct.
But at that point, you sat down and drove his head into the canvas.
Yes.
And I thought, sweet Christ, what a devastating move. And it was years before I actually saw that move in pro wrestling. Well, somebody did that move tonight. He had the man set up in the position to deliver this horrifying pile driver, and the director decided he was going to cut to a shot of Tracy Brooks, and missed it.
Yes.
He missed it. He missed the move. He constantly is going from shot to shot to shot to shot to shot. We've talked many times about the issue of immediately cutting backstage after a big win, which didn't see a lot of on this show, but it's been horrible in the past. Horrible. Horrible. No redeeming qualities at this point for this David Sahadi. He needs to be released from his contract. He needs to be sent to WWE in an effort by TNA to sabotage their main competitor. He needs to be eradicated from the wrestling business. He ruined this pay-per-view in many ways.
You know, about 2-3 months ago, we were at the bowling alley, and our friend John asked, just a straight conversation, what celebrity would you like to fight? Or would you like to kill? One of the two. And I couldn't think of anyone. I couldn't think of one famous person I really had a beef with who I wanted to do combat with. Then for a while, my answer was Michael Bay, who I actually like his movies, but he himself is a giant douche. And now my answer is most definitely David Sahadi. I want to fight him.
If we can book that match, we'll...
And you know what? If he kicks my ass, fine. I just want one chance to get my hands on him.
We'll get you training if this match can be made. An MMA fight.
I actually would train.
Between you and David Sahadi. I think that'd be money. I'd pay for it.
Sure.
I would pay for that fight right there.
I would rather go down screaming than... I would rather get my ass kicked by him than live my life without the chance to hit him.
And if David Sahadi won, I'd immediately shut the tape off so that you couldn't see his celebration afterwards.
You would go to the back.
He utterly sucks. I've never seen a worse director in my whole entire life. This was such shit on this show. Now, Vince, have you had a change of heart involving TNA? Have you come around?
No. I have calmed down. I reconsidered things. But, no, that show sucked on Sunday.
You have a new mindset, though.
Sucked on...
You explained this
I do.
yesterday.
That's a better way of putting it. Yes, I at some point this week, I took time to think about my lot in life and what I've been assigned to, and how best to deal with the hand I've been dealt. And it occurred to me that getting angry at the show and hating everyone is not going to help anybody. So
it accomplishes nothing.
It accomplishes nothing. It raises my heart rate and brings me closer to death and drives me back to the bottle, which, granted, is a short trip. But I like bad movies. I love watching shitty movies about zombies and vampires and ninjas and whatever. I need to start approaching TNA that way. I need to watch the show with a laugh track in my head and zany sound effects going off when stupid shit happens. And I tried to watch Impact that way this week. And you know what?
You failed.
I cannot prepare myself for a show to be that stupid.
The problem is
the problem is I am not capable of being as stupid as the people behind TNA are.
The problem is that even bad horror and zombie and El Santo movies have a charm to them.
Yes.
There's no charm to TNA.
Oh.
It flat out sucks in every conceivable way.
Horrible.
I spoke to Dave on the phone a couple of days ago about Impact. We were lamenting our lots in life, in fact. And we got to talking about how much TNA sucked. And I said, you know, this has to be the worst television show there's ever been. And he said, no, WCW is worse. And I said, I disagree. WCW, I could at least laugh about it. TNA is just horrible. And he said, well, you know, I can still find things to laugh about on Impact. And I guess if he can, more power to him. I try, but it's a different kind of suck.
No,
Thunder had the campiness to it.
Thunder and Nitro at their worst were way better than Impact ever was.
Because you know, let me tell you why Thunder and Nitro had a charm to them. Because at the end, we've had Disco Inferno on our show many times, and he talked about how the end, no one cared. Everybody just went out there and did whatever the fuck they wanted. And who cares?
Yes.
Who cares? They knew it was bad. They didn't care. They knew they were making some money. They didn't give a shit. They went out there. They did stupid stuff. They had fun. Who gives a shit? In TNA, and I spoke to Lance Storm about this as well, because he watched Impact, and he was asking me some question about
why do people watch this?
No, it was something along the lines of, do these guys just figure that the money's going to keep coming in, so they might as well just create bad television? And I said, no, I really think that the people in TNA think that they're making great television.
Can't be true.
He could not fathom this.
No, you must be mistaken.
But I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that they think they're putting out a better quality product than WWE. I honestly, in my heart, believe that.
They're not putting out a better quality product than C-SPAN.
They're putting out the worst product there's ever been.
Yeah, I would rather watch the Weather Channel.
And it amazes me that something could be so bad with so much effort put into it and so many people thinking that it's any good whatsoever. But yes, the only way to watch this show is to try to come up with as many jokes as possible at their expense. Make fun of them as... It's just like... I don't want to mention anybody's name on the board to give anyone any more attention, but there are certain people on the board that drive people to anger.
Yeah. Yes.
And to me, it's like, first off, it's a message board. You shouldn't be getting that angry, although I'm one to talk. I've gotten very angry in the past, but the point is, it is a message board, and really, the easiest thing to do is just realize the stupidity of it all. And there's plenty of stupidity to be had. Don't get me wrong. There's a now famous thread that really is just chock full of utter stupidity. And if you get mad at that, something's wrong. You need to relax, sit back, read the thread, and revel in the idiocy, the utter idiocy, of which there is 22 pages worth or something at this point. That's what you got to do for Impact. You've just got to revel in the utter stupidity of it.
I tried.
And there was, and you know, it's funny because on the Dave's show yesterday, he mentioned a point on the show where so much stupidity happened at once he could not keep track. And the funny thing is, it was the exact same point that it occurred to me.
Yeah. There is a point on the show where I mentioned this. There was too much stupid stuff to write it all down, and I thought to myself, this is why you need two people to watch this show. One man cannot possibly record all the stupid bullshit.
Two is not enough either.
We need our own writing crew, the size of their writing crew, to keep track of all the stupid shit their writing crew does.
He mentioned that when Jim Cornette threw out the 3 matches for Bound for Glory, he didn't have time to write them down, and then it was all over. And I was like, I was typing on my laptop, and I type at least 100 words a minute, and I missed it. I have no idea who the tag team champions are going to be facing, or what the match is. I don't even remember anything off the top of my head. I wrote some of it down here. We'll get to it in a minute, but failure. That's a failure.
This is another thumbs down Impact, yes.
There's no other way to explain it than thumbs down.
Thumbs fucking down.
This show, once again, failed on every single level. No buys.
I can't argue with any of this. This is another disaster of a show.
No buys. I do realize that the Tuesday Bryan and Vinny show is free, and TNA pay-per-views are purchased by crazy people.
Fools.
But nonetheless, think about this fact, everybody. TNA is seen, or it is available, in approximately 100 million homes. 100 million homes have the capacity to see Impact. Of those 100 million homes, about 1 million watch the show. 1.2 million.
Okay.
Of those 1.2 million, less than 20,000 are buying the pay-per-views.
Right.
We did a Bryan and Vinny show a week ago that had 10,000 people listening to it. That is over half of how many people in a universe of 90 million or 100 million potential customers purchased the TNA pay-per-view. What does that say? I don't know what that says, really.
I'm not sure.
But when I heard that number, I thought, 10,000 people listening to a horrible show that we did, and
that is disconcerting, actually.
Not even double that. Not even double. We may soon have more people listening to the Bryan and Vinny show than purchase TNA pay-per-views.
And we do not have any advertising for the show that I'm aware of. I guess your appearance is on Observer Live.
We are not available on Spike TV.
No, we do not have weekly primetime television.
Our show, I guess technically our show has the potential to be heard by 100 million people.
Frankly, it has potential to be heard around the globe.
Sure, well it is.
Our potential audience, to be fair, is greater than TNA's.
But anyway, in the grand scheme of things, when you consider that TNA has prime time television on a network available in 100 million homes, and they're doing 16 to 18,000 pay-per-view buys every month with all of that. Utter failure.
Are you sure you're not adding decimal points to both those numbers?
No.
I think it's 16 people buy the pay-per-views and 10 people listen to us.
No, it is completely absurd, but those are true stats, everyone.
Wow.
So let's
Get lies, everyone. Stop watching them and stop listening to us.
No, you can continue listening to us, and we would like to convert more of those 10,000 into paying customers. But you can quit watching Impact immediately. That's completely
For
fine.
the love of God.
Seriously, why would anyone watch this show?
I
ask every single solitary week, and I never get a good answer.
Never get a good answer. You know why, Brian? There's not a good answer. There's no...
But there must be.
No.
There must be a reason that 1 million people watch this show every week.
Well, here's the reason. There are 1 million fucking stupid people out there.
I don't know.
That's an ugly truth. There are 1 million stupid crackheads with nothing better to do
Now,
but sit back
that's
and
not
enjoy.
fair. They're not all stupid crackheads. But I think people are afraid to tell us why they enjoy this show, because we never get an answer. Somebody explain to me. Someone write me an email and tell me why you enjoy the show. The most I ever get is people going, I hate the show, but I watch it because I laugh.
No.
That doesn't seem good enough to me.
I don't think any of those 1 million people who watch Impact subscribe to our site. Because no one who watches Impact could possibly operate a personal computer.
I want to know...
They cannot be literate.
Well, of course they are, because there's the TNA fan forums, which are a source of
There's the thorn in my argument.
much joy to many of the people on our website. But if you are a person that buys every pay-per-view, please write and tell us why. I just want to know. I swear to Christ I won't make fun of you. I will even praise you for having the balls to write in and explain why.
Absolutely.
You must explain why. Right, shoot myself.
When you're rocking and a rolling, I can hear your mama call. From the early morning till the early night, when the comets calling, rocking like a house of blue light. Good God, I miss
I think I have a new favorite.
sure like the ball. When you remember me last night, I can hear your mama call.
That was a masterpiece.
That was awesome.
We had the weekly Trailer Mcnailer challenge to Super Chico, and it went about 5 minutes.
That wasn't any clue.
He was on the freeway overpass with, I guess instead of a homeless sign asking for donations, it said a ponies, bring Chico here, I believe it said, or get Chico here, and it had a shirt that read, Chico is a chicken, and on the back it said, and Granny sucks.
Horrible.
Fighting words.
Horrible thing to say.
Fighting words.
That's the kind of low-life degenerate that Trailer Mcnailer really is.
He's got a new girlfriend who looks quite fine.
I don't know how he pulled that off.
But they don't show her face. I think there's a storyline for this at some point that will involve her not having a face or something of that nature. I guess we'll have to see. But anyway, so then he came out at the beginning of the show and said in the last week he'd earned $12 for the Get Chico Fund. So he's on his way, actually. And he said that he also had a piece of fan mail that he wanted to read. And it said that Ted and his athletic body were indeed great, and that I, Chico Alvarez, was nothing but a chicken. And it concluded, sincerely yours, Steve Lucha Sims, Steve Finley, Ed Giovanetti, and Richard Magnet.
I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed.
Richard
Magnet.
So we watched a fabulous show, Derby City Wrestling. Trailer Mcnailer is still attempting to raise money to get me out there. A car wash.
Yes. He had a sign for advertising car wash, and yes, there was an R in wash.
This is the greatest show. Yeah, car wash.
His girlfriend was there dancing. She was holding the sign up on her face and dancing to no music, which is great. And his girlfriend's smoking hot.
This is actually his real girlfriend, which is
He is an overachiever.
inexplicable. God knows this woman would never be introduced to wrestling if this were my girlfriend. Never in a million years would in any way she be involved in anything that I was involved with. So anyway.
So they raised some money, and finally he decided he'd raised enough funds for the day, so he put his arms around the young lass and said, and I quote, "Let's go do it." Smooth talker.
Sucks that this guy is going to learn a tough lesson, but what the hell can you do? The challenge, or the Ted the Trailer Mcnailer segment, which he does at the beginning of every show, where he's trying to get me to go to Derby City Wrestling. This one was 6 minutes long. He went all over Derby City and got signatures on a petition, a petition, actually, as he called it. And I'm not quite sure how signing a petition is going to equal money to me, so it's a very, very failed attempt here by Ted Mcnailer. But, yeah.
I just love the first two names on this petition were X and R. And as Trailer put it, I put my X on her, and then just toward his girlfriend, and her name's on here too.
Yes.
Fine man.
I think his girl was actually a legitimate Russian exchange student.
She is unbelievably hot.
I have known a few Russian girls in my day, and none of them looked like this lass. So,
well, to be fair, the number of girls on the planet who look like this lass are small.
I think that now that the Iron Curtain has fallen, and I don't know.
You had no idea where you were going with that one, did you?
Well, I was trying to make some sort of comment about steroids and growth hormone and drugs and in the Soviet Union. They turned out a lot of big, thick ladies back in the day.
A lot of great shot putters.
Sure. A lot of anvils, really. And this isn't one of them. So, times have changed, everybody. The Berlin Wall has fallen, and we can all celebrate because Ted Mcnailer's girl is here. Anyway, so...
That was 15, 17 years ago.
That was about when she was born. Maybe a little...
Actually, you're close.
Maybe a little earlier. She escaped shortly afterwards. I now have more enemies in Derby City as Twinkle Toes is angry at me. He said he was going to show me how to be a real radio personality. And Kenny Bolin, however, the chick magnet, did stick up for me and said, I would kill Ted Mcnailer.
I believe those were the first words out of his mouth. DCW has a format where every week opens with a Ted the Trailer segment where he tries to get you out there.
Yes.
And then they do about 8 minutes where the announcers are introduced and then shenanigans happen.
Yes.
And so Kenny Bolin didn't show up in the show until a good 9-10 minutes in, after a bunch of other stuff already happened, and he walked in and he had his sunglasses on, and the girls were out there, and Twinkle Toes was out there, and Baltimore was out there, and McNailer had already been everywhere. And he walks over and he takes his position, and he sits down and he just says, Chico would kill Ted Mcnailer.
He said he probably, something about nobody should sign the petition because they might save his life.
Yes, yes. If you choose not to sign the petition, you are saving Ted McNailer's life.
I agree with this, by the way. You are saving the young man's life. I have, in fact, sent in a reply to Ted the Trailer Mcnailer.
You have, in fact, become a participant in Derby City Wrestling.
I am now I was, for a while, an unwitting participant.
You were drafted in a Derby City, basically.
I was drafted out of this program. Ted the Trailer has I basically told young Mr. Mcnailer, stop talking about Granny. And Ted McNailer responded by...
Talking about Granny.
He did a top 10 reasons Granny sucks. Seriously.
Yes.
Granny, if you're listening, I don't know what to tell you. But I believe number 10 was because Granny's from Washington, and Washington sucks.
Yes.
And it went on from there.
So,
apparently, it's now on. Ted the Trailer is going to get an ass kicking, courtesy me.
That's right. Timmy Baltimore was at the announce table. He was joined by Ted Mcnailer, and as Baltimore explained, Mcnailer has been calling out Chico Alvarez for, 2-3 months now. Calling him out, trying to raise money to fly him out there, and finally Chico responded.
Yes,
Chico Alvarez had lowered himself to respond to this hooligan. And so we got a videotape shot in Buddy Wayne's front yard. Sadly, Buddy Cedar did not make an appearance. That was missing here.
Yeah.
But Chico explained that he was retired.
Yes.
He was no longer an active wrestler. He was merely a writer. He had no interest in wrestling, and while he's an opinionated man, and he stands by his opinions, that makes it okay to criticize him. However, criticizing Bryan's family is wrong. You may say whatever you want about Bryan. You may say whatever you want about his fat friend Vinny.
Yes.
But don't say anything about Granny.
Indeed.
That's not fair. After all, Bryan's man enough to attack Mcnailer, attack his ability,
sure,
attack his physique.
Yes.
Therefore, Bryan can take it. Bryan can take criticism, but leave Granny out of it.
And I'd like to add that Granny would kick Ted Mcnailer's ass.
That's an editorial comment by Bryan Alford.
Yes.
So, Bryan wished Mcnailer, as he said, I wish you the best of luck in this wacky business. You also said you'd love to visit Louisville sometime, which was a blatant lie.
Well, come on now.
And that wrapped it up.
I would like to note that I also threw in the line that Ted was a really good wrestler for someone in wrestling school.
Yes, and I must say the delivery was fine. He just very casually tossed out there. You're a very fine wrestler for a wrestling school guy. You did it much better than I did, but so
a fountain of charisma, this fellow.
Yes.
Let me throw that in as well. All right.
Ugly though.
What can you do?
So they went back to the announce desk, and Mcnailer was not happy.
Although that's not what Mcnailer's girl said later on. We'll get to that in a little while.
We'll get to that later as well. Mcnailer was not happy. He was mostly unhappy that you had implied he was just a wrestling school guy. He listed his long list of credentials, how he had been working for World Wrestling Entertainment as a professional. He had been paid to be a druid, yes, and to be paparazzi,
yes,
and to be Mr. McMahon's security. Therefore, he outranked you, whose career peaked when he was pinned by the grappler on Portland TV.
Yes.
Got a point there.
Well, what can you do?
So he was angry, and he decided he was going to collect his thoughts, and he would have more to say later in the show.
Yeah. We'll see.
Ted Mcnailer had a rebuttal.
He did.
He was standing there with the American flag behind him and the stars and bars over the desk, and his girlfriend was also there, and she's a fine young lass.
She is.
She is a fine young lass, and Ted Mcnailer's rebuttal consisted of...
She may be co-host on this show before too long. One of them.
I would be fine with that. I would stand here...
Or she'll just stand right there while we do the show.
Yeah, it's fine. Or you can lock me out and I'll stand in the window and stare at her. That's fine.
Sure.
But anyway, as you noted, Ted Mcnailer did the 10 Reasons Granny Sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 Reasons Granny Sucks, and number 10 was she's from Washington and Washington sucks. W-A-R, Shington.
Yes.
Then things went on from there, and
what was number 1?
She's your grandmother, and you're a coward and a chicken or something. The truth is, the reasons Granny sucks were not particularly funny. However, their presentation was awesome. Ted Mcnailer is a mobile homer, perhaps homeschooled by Nine Fingers Dewey.
Yes.
He's not knowledgeable. So he started at 10, I think he got to 9, and then he abandoned the number format entirely. He moved on to number W, and somewhere in the middle here, he stopped and stared at his notes for a long time, and finally announced that he had reached number bats. And they were doing a little graphic in the screen that said, 10, she's from Washington and Washington sucks. And then at this point, a bat appeared in the corner. And I laughed, and I cackled, and I howled.
This was not the only bat on the show, by the way.
There were more bats to come, but I must say this is the superior bat.
Yes.
Number bats. That is comedy. This is how funny is done, everybody. Number bats.
Yeah.
Pay attention. So anyway, this ruled. Mcnailer's still mad. He still wants to fight you.
And his girl's got her eye on me.
Oh, she did at one point mention that you were cute.
That's right.
This did not make Mcnailer happy.
Exchange student from Russia is going to have another exchange coming up very soon. That's my vow. God damn it. apparently it's working.
There's a legend round here.
Welcome, everyone, to Impact.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Vince Russo is back in charge again.
A curse on TNA.
Got a dance curse.
Few have seen him and lived.
Russo has cut my balls off here since day one.
Some have even tried to stop him.
I think I'm just going to hospitalize that fucking Russo my last day here, just because I just goddamn want to.
But he keeps coming back.
Vince Russo was added to the TNA booking committee.
People forget. He's down there. Waiting.
I'm ringside, it's Mike today, joined by Don West.
Ultimate humiliation tour and filler match. The Doomsday Chamber of Blood match.
It's the fight for the right tournament. This King of the Mountain match, it's exclusive to TNA. What's wrong with you people?
Jesus fucking Christ. I want to puke.
You know, they got off to a slow start, but that really picked up at the end. Fight for the right tournament.
The fight for the right tournament. TNA sucks.
It sucks dick.
Damn, it sucks.
And I said, what do you mean?
Wait a second, this is
That sounds wrong.
unacceptable. It's a day of celebration for midgets everywhere. Hornswoggle is the bastard, the legitimate little bastard of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, as determined on Raw, and I am flabbergasted by the amount of emails and posts I have read on message boards and such from people that can't believe it. What bullshit, they say. Hornswoggle, a midget. I also have people very, very excited about this, mostly people that hate Ken Kennedy, that feel he has fucked his way out of being the illegitimate child of Vince McMahon, and this storyline is going to be over, and I'm going to read a shout-out later from somebody. In fact, I'll read it right now. This is from Matt Daivari on our board. Hornswoggle, he says. We were spared a horrendous Ken Kennedy push. God bless Vince McMahon. God bless Dylan Postel. God bless Mark Doctors, and God bless internet steroid busts. I'm Matt Daivari, and for the first time ever, I am truly loving life. Well, Matt Daivari, love life while you can, my friend. Love life while you can. Because if you think that this is over with Hornswoggle being the illegitimate child, I'm baffled, actually, that anybody could think that this is the end. It actually really surprises me. I mean, hello?
I'm baffled that anyone can be upset by it.
Hello? Ken Kennedy is suspended, So they need to drag this on for 3 more weeks till he returns. Or perhaps 4 more weeks. I don't know when his suspension started, but it's a holdover. And it was made very, very clear this evening when they teased that the child was going to be Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And when everybody thought it was Hunter, Vince was very morose, and Hunter was very morose. And Vince said, well, it can't be you, because that would mean you and he did not get any farther. And Hunter said, I don't like it as much as you do. And it was
I thought they actually both handled that news very well.
Well,
I would have been far more upset.
I think it had not sunk in yet. They still were in disbelief. Because obviously the storyline is that Hunter and Steph are in fact fucking and have produced an offspring. And thus, if Vince McMahon was... if Hunter was Vince McMahon's child, that would mean incest.
Icky.
Disgustingness.
Yes.
So anyway, it's obviously that's where the story is going. Hunter will be outed
It's
as...
going for incest?
Well, no. Hunter is going to be outed as Stephanie's husband, which they've been setting up now for 2 straight weeks. And it will come out that Ken Kennedy and Vince McMahon screwed with everybody. Those bastards. The explanation for Ken Kennedy not being there, by the way, was that he was suspended for impersonating Vince McMahon's son. I found that funny. So, yeah. Think of the ironies of that, by the way. Think of the ironies of that. He was suspended for impersonating Vince McMahon's son. There's an even better irony on the show when, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But for those of you that hope that Hornswoggle now has a career as the child of Vince McMahon and then it's all over and Ken Kennedy's screwed, hate to break it to you.
You're just being negative, Brian.
I hate to break it to you.
You're not looking at the bright side, which is that we could be looking at Hornswoggle for life.
We're looking at, well, no, listen, here's how I can explain this. This is a perfect analogy that I was thinking about. A lot of people watch Saturday Night Live, and I think many people would say that Saturday Night Live isn't what it used to be, like 30 years ago. But every now and then there will be a really funny skit, or a really funny series of skits on the show. Like there will be I'm trying to think of a good example, but...
Dick in a Box.
Whatever.
Which, by the way, is up for an Emmy.
Well, anyway, the point is there'll be like a funny character that you see on Saturday Night Live for 5 minutes every week or whatever, and then eventually they'll decide, let's turn this into a movie. Let's have this character be on screen for an hour and a half. It's always a failure. Almost without fail.
You must qualify that, because there's a film called Night of the Roxbury, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. Do not disparage that film in front of me. I will take great offense.
Oh, Jesus.
That movie rules.
I did enjoy that movie, but there are many people who would say that was a horrible, horrible film.
Well, they were wrong.
And I'm
now,
sure...
if you want to say it's Pat, I'll agree with that.
Sure. But anyway, the point is, Hornswoggle for 3 weeks as Vince McMahon's son is going to be awesome. Any longer than that, it will not be funny anymore. In fact, I hope they can get 3 weeks out of it.
You may have a point there. You may have a point.
So I think everyone should enjoy 3 weeks of Vince McMahon having a midget offspring. I'm sure we'll have some great skits.
I want to see Shane and Hornswoggle do some brotherly bonding.
There is at least 3 to 4 weeks of fantastic material here that I hope they don't fuck up. But I think that once that 3 to 4 weeks of fabulous material is over, I think that it will be time to move on and get into the thick of things. The real bastard son of Vince McMahon. Vince came down to the ring and said 5 weeks ago, actually wrote 5 years ago, many weeks ago, he was embarrassed to discover that he had a bastard child. And then the week after, he discovered this person was a WWE superstar. And he said that instead of this woman, the mother of this child, being a professional, she had given stupid clues, such as, things are looking up. He said they were in Green Bay, and so everybody was probably expecting Mr. Kennedy, but he said Mr. Kennedy was not here. He had been suspended for impersonating a McMahon. There was a WWE magazine with him on the cover that he commanded Coach rip up. Coach failed, in a great highlight of the show.
Finally muttered, just rip up the cover.
So, anyway, then the great Khali's music hit, and he came out, and Vince was overjoyed. A bastard with a giant penis. What more could Vince McMahon want? So, he did a promo that culminated with the words, Great McMahon!
Yes.
His translator explained that Khali had insight. Think about this.
This show, many parts of the show are awesome.
I just like the idea that the Great Khali would have insight about anything in this world, aside from what it's like to be a giant. But his insight were that things were looking up, and that could only apply to him, the Great McMahon. So his translator said that, actually I don't know what he said.
The translator repeated what he said.
The jungles of Punjab, which I could have sworn that Punjab was a desert, but perhaps Khali was in the arid portion of the desert. Out came JBL, who said he loved money like Vince, so he should be the son. Poor argument.
I just love that these men were campaigning to be the son as if, you know, they could retroactively switch their DNA. That's not how being the son works.
Retroactively switch the DNA? What are you talking about?
JBL either is or is not Vince McMahon's son. No matter how much he sucks up to Vince, it won't change that fact.
I see. So then Mr. Johnson appeared on the screen, and he said the child would be revealed later tonight, just not right now. He said we had to wait until the client was good and ready, and Vince demanded to know who the son was immediately, whether he was in the ring, and the man, Jeff Hardy'd also come out. And he didn't want to be the son, so I don't know why he came out.
Well, he came out for the yeah.
Why did he come out?
He came out so they could have the setup of... He came out to say, and by the way, when they asked what he was doing there, he replied, I don't really know. But he was out there, to celebrate when he was not Mr.
He's
Son.
gotten text messages from people saying that when he came off ladders, it made people look up.
Yes.
So perhaps he was his son, but he hoped not. So anyway, Mr. Johnson said the child was not Jeff Hardy. So Jeff said, praise the Lord! And Vince responded, what a fool.
This is so great.
He said if Jeff was not his son, he didn't give a shit about him, so he sent him to a match with Great Khali.
Jeff was woebegone.
And he should have. He probably tried to go over the match before the show started and realized what a disaster it would be.
I should say also, when you say that Jeff Hardy said praise the Lord and Vince said what a fool, you are not exaggerating. These are direct quotes from this particular skit on this episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
Jeff Hardy actually shouted, praise the Lord! And Vince said, what a fool. And his other great line, when Johnson appeared on the screen and Vince said, for the record, what did he say? For the record, I hate you. And he went on a rant about how he hates all attorneys. He even hated his own. He hates his own attorneys. This is a fine segment. I want to turn out to be a show with not a lot of good wrestling, but a lot of very good stuff.
He has to hate his own attorney by now.
I guarantee he does.
Really think about it. So we had Coach meeting with Vince, and Coach announced that he had banned Cena from the building, which they'd announced earlier, but apparently Vince knew nothing about it. And Coach said, listen, WWE.com is doing a poll to determine who your son might be. He said he had the number 2 point getter out in the hall. So he brought in Stevie Richards. And Vince burst into hysterics, laughing and cackling as loud as possible, which we need a drop of, by the way. And he booted Stevie out, told his mom to keep voting, and responded, that's ridiculous.
And the best part of this was Stevie just left.
Yeah.
He didn't protest or beg anything at all. He just left, presumably to tell his mom to keep voting.
He wanted to know who number 1 was, and so Coach told Vince it was Triple H.
No one was happy about that.
Vince came out and called all the wrestlers to the brands. Everybody was there.
Everyone
Festus,
on Earth was around the ring.
Highlanders, Deuce, Shade. The DNA testing.
Even Randy Orton was out there. We know his dad.
Apparently not. Mr. Johnson appeared on the screen. That's the attorney for the woman or whatever. And he said he was going to start with a list of men who were not the son. Hell of an attorney this guy is. Hell of a case. He said the son was not extreme. All the ECW guys bailed.
Vince sent him packing with a note saying he was happy Balls was not his son. He also stopped to wave and say, hi, Tommy.
Yes.
He waved to Tommy Dreamer and said hi. I don't know why, but it made me laugh.
Mr. Johnson said his son had a fondness for gold. So Vince released everyone who was not a current or former champion. I didn't look, but I'm sure this was bullshit. Everyone should have stayed in the ring.
As far as who is a former champion?
Seriously, who is not a former champion in WWE?
Cody Rhodes, because he's been there like 3 weeks. That's probably it. I don't know who else left. The Daltons, I'm sure, they just got there.
A lot of people left is the point.
Yes.
Way too many than could possibly have all been...
Could all not have been champions of something somewhere.
So then they said your son's skin is fair, so all black fellows and anyone who was not a Caucasian was sent to the back. including Mark Henry. So then the clue was, your son's skin is fair, as is his hair. Dr. Seuss, perhaps is the mother or the father. I don't know how it would work. But they eliminated a bunch of dark-haired fellows, and everyone was chanting Kennedy, and Vince reminded everybody he had been suspended for impersonating a McMahon. So then the next clue was individual. So Cade and Murdoch were eliminated. Just think about that. He was suspended for impersonating a McMahon. And think of why he was really suspended. It's such a great line.
I see.
For so many reasons.
I understand now.
Anyway, so we were down to JBL Hunter and the Sandman.
Oh, yes. I was so giddy at this point.
And Vince said, and I quote, all I have to say is that 2 out of the 3 here would be disastrous to me. So Mr. Johnson said the son loved to play the game. That's when we had a very awkward moment. And then Mr. Johnson added he liked to play hide-and-seek and, as we saw on SmackDown, marbles. And out came Hornswoggle, who had a very happy celebration as Hunter cackled and cackled away. And, indeed, that's the son.
Yes.
The midget.
Hornswoggle McMahon.
Hornswoggle K. McMahon.
I love the idea, I guess it turned out not to be true, but the idea throughout this was that the mother was not only hiding the child's identity from Vince, but also from the child. We were supposed to believe that these men did not know their own paternity.
This whole thing is absurd.
It is. I'm thinking too much. It's true.
I don't know if anybody noticed or not, but
it was fun.
Completely ridiculous.
Pretty much every non-wrestling segment on the show was fun. I guess the wrestling segments were fine. And the most fun one was the disaster. Actually, there are 2 train wrecks on the show, now that I think about it. But they were fun.
Hornswoggle. Next, they have to determine who's the mom. So we don't know that. It could be Mae Young.
And she just forgot?
It could be Linda.
Why not?
We don't know for sure. Think of all the possibilities of who could be Hornswoggle's. I don't think they say his age, but he's young. He's like 20 or something like that. So it could be any of a number of women.
The closest they came is they did mention he's the youngest cruiserweight champion of all time.
Hornswoggle. Who could be his mom? It's got to be Mae Young. It's got to be Nancy Grace.
Yes, now we're talking.
I figured it out. Nancy Grace is the mother. Hornswoggle's a child, and Vince McMahon's going to lose his mind.
Randy Savage calling.
Faster on the
Here we go, Randy. How are you?
Oh, yes. Hello, my man. Let me just tell that cocksucking maggot one thing. How's it feel 15 years later after I pimp slapped you about 12 minutes in the ring there?
He's talking about me? No, he's talking about me. He's on the line.
Dude,
He said he beat your ass.
Randy Savage, if you talk about me, you don't respect me. Fuck you.
I don't.
But I love Elizabeth. Elizabeth was a good lady. But you are Jew. Son of a bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Don't let me say nothing. You are no good son of a bitch. Anytime you need my crack, anytime you need my marijuana, anytime you need my coke, you come my room.
Did he say my mineral water?
Marijuana.
Fuck you.
Did that?
Well, here's the second one.
Right through the very heart of it.
New York.
I want to wake up.
Fuck your ass. Have a sex from behind. I'll fuck your gay ass. You're fucking gay. You're fucking gay. Don't fuck with me. You're gay and faggot. Piece of shit. Son of a bitch.
Well, that was a fine song. I gotta hear the end of that again. Sheiky.
Okay, I have a new song. I have a new favorite song. It's that one.
They showed some Diva Search chicks. I will say that at least this time around they found actual athletes. I think every single one of them, with the exception of maybe one or two, had a legitimate athletic background.
They had gymnasts. They had apparently softball players. They had a power lifter. Surfers, yes.
They had all sorts of hot chicks that can go.
Amazing.
It is actually, it flabbergasts me. We should go to WWE.com and look at the Diva Search thing, but I'm afraid it'll slow this show down since we've been having issues.
Skipping issues?
I don't know why. I don't have an explanation for these skipping issues.
Because life sucks and is not fair.
Well, hold on. We're going to try WWE.com anyway. All right. We're going up to WWE.com to check out the Diva Search 2007. There's a picture of Vince with the Hornswoggle's hat on his head. Let the games begin! Watch the Diva hopefuls try to spike each other in volleyball in the first competition in this year's Diva Search. Wow. Apparently, you can go on the thing here, and there's a volleyball game, and you can watch it. Huh. Sounds exciting. Videos. Volleyball game 1, volleyball game 2, volleyball game 3. Or watch all videos. Why?
You're not sold on the Diva Search then?
All I'm going to say is that I'm looking at all the girls here, and I think everybody on our board has determined that the winner of this contest is going to be Brooke Gilbertson, who will, of course, rapidly have to change her name since they already have a Brooke. But she looks like Stacy Keibler. She's got bikini photos here. She's a native of Huntington Beach, California. She sees herself as spontaneous, exotic, very exotic, just blonde.
Generic blonde?
Yeah. She actually might have a dye job, so she might be exotic with a bleach job. As she herself says, I live for thrills and love taking risks. Let's watch her video bio. Everyone's hearing it here first because this is going to be the winner of the 2007 Diva Search. Much like last week in Figure 4 Weekly...
Your video selection will begin after a brief...
Shut the fuck up. Much like last week in Figure 4 Weekly, the very last word in the newsletter was, in fact, Hornswoggle. We had made a prediction.
And it came true.
For who was going to be the little bastard.
You're still on a roll.
I am on a roll.
Height, paternity, doesn't matter.
Yep. I'm good with everything. And,
hottest conditions.
Oh, what?
It's the end of a
different website?
Axe body spray commercial. All right. This is going to be Brooke Gilbertson's bio, the winner of the 2007 Diva Search, and I am a great prognosticator, so here we go.
My name is Brooke Gilbertson, and I actually grew up in Huntington Beach, California.
Wow.
As a child, I was a really good kid, quiet, cute, really small. I was like 70 pounds in 8th grade. My family's amazing. I have the best family in the world. My mom's my biggest role model, my best friend. We do all that fun stuff.
Her mom's pretty hot, actually.
I'd definitely say I'm a girly girl. I'm a beach girl as well, because I've lived at the beach all my life. I always went to private Christian schools.
Oh, trouble.
Played volleyball, cheerleader, danced most of my life. I love the spotlight. I definitely keep the crowd entertained and engaged. I feel like if you embrace who you are and love who you are, you just shine. You walk into a room, that confidence completely emulates.
What?
WWE fan?
She lost her train of thought, I think. Oh.
The anticipation, right before you walk into that room. Oh gosh, anxiety's all high, and when you get in there and you're like, I could do this, So I'm on the mic, hanging out, dancing.
The confidence completely emulates.
The second time I went in, Todd was saying, you seem really sweet and wholesome, but we kind of want you to play a role.
Todd Grisham's in charge of this.
We want you to be a bitch. And I was like, what are you going to make me do?
Pretend that Candace was sleeping with your boyfriend.
Candace, wanna and then I winner! And then I was like, oh gosh, wait, retake. You know what?
She's acting.
Get out here and I'll slap you right out.
Oh.
You're so cute. I promise I can be really mad.
This is awesome.
I'm so excited to be here. So Candace was like,
just for pretend I really slept with your boyfriend.
All right, come here. I hope you're pregnant.
Whoa! I hope you're fucking pregnant, bitch.
It is really fun.
Candace and Todd Grisham are in charge of this thing.
We had to make it, right?
Uh-oh. It's the dramatic cutting.
She's super hot, huh? But is she hot enough to be the next WWE Diva? She's got a chance. She's in the Final 8. Give it up!
Oh,
Brooke.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? You know, this is really happening. To be honest, I was a little surprised. I'm just completely floating right
long.
now. On cloud 9.
2 minutes and 16 seconds.
And don't mess with the rest, because I'm the best.
Oh!
Don't.
Cocky.
I see.
Don't mess with the rest, because I'm the best. Brooke Gilbertson, everyone. Maybe we'll do one a week. That was Brooke. Blonde and exotic. Let's move on now. That wasn't nearly as fun as Michelle McCool at the beach.
Nothing will ever top Michelle McCool rollerblading, actually. She loves to spin around.
What did that all lead to?
Nothing. Nothing in any way. She's now just another generic diva.
Who's loving life.
No, she's not even doing that anymore. They don't mention that. She's on Chuck Palumbo's bike.
I guess someone needs to die before she can start loving life again. Because it started the week after Chris Benoit took his life and his family's. That's when she began loving life.
I see.
Seriously, I'm not even joking about that.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Perhaps, I don't know if everybody noticed this or not, but it's now been pulled from WWE.com. But they had a big story up about the best chair shots in history. Came out,
you dipshits!
Came out very shortly after Chris Benoit's brain was found to be severely damaged.
Right.
Worse than anyone they'd ever looked at, and that includes Andre Waters. Bad brain damage. But hey, best chair shots in WWE history. It was rapidly pulled. So what it was...
So we know somewhere, someone in this company does in fact have a brain.
Well, no.
And it's not damaged.
Well, what we learned is it was not arrogance, it was idiocy. Which, I don't know which is worse, actually. How can you fucking be that dumb?
I don't know.
That's like something you would expect on the TNA website.
It really is.
Utter incompetence.
I mean, that week was a blur, but we have to at some point have discussed that, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I did for sure. And, yeah. In fact, that was the very first day, the first people that ever interviewed me was CBS News, and that was the incident where I tried to explain the brain damage theory, and they told me, we really like what you said, but can you say it in 20 seconds?
I see.
And I failed, and it was axed. But what can you do? Unfortunately, we are doing this show as opposed to watching Primetime Wrestling, which we were watching right before this show went on the air. A fine program.
1987, the opener was the new Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man, defending against George the Animal Steel.
Yes. I remember this show vividly for some reason. And I thought I didn't start watching wrestling till like 2 years later. Apparently I was wrong. My memory of that period is shady.
They actually had in the info box, they mentioned the Hart Foundation versus Rougeau's match, and I immediately thought, holy crap, if that's the match I'm thinking of, it's awesome.
Yeah. I remembered this show, this particular show. Bobby got his phone back. Why do I remember this stuff?
The segments with Gorilla and Bobby in hindsight were such gold.
What do you mean in hindsight? I knew at the time they were gold.
I have not seen them in almost 20 years now. But they just put the camera on these two guys and say, be entertaining. And they were.
I don't even know if they said be entertaining.
Just be yourselves.
I think they just put the camera on.
Or just hang out.
Just introduce...
Just say things.
Introduce Lou Albano and the $1 Million Man.
They in fact, after that match, which I fast-forwarded through, the next segment was one of the very first Ted DiBiase vignettes.
How can you possibly fast-forward to the Honky Tonk Man versus... whoever the other guy was.
George the Animal Steel.
George the Animal in 1987.
You were not even in the ring. You were not even in the room. After the third time before they had even made contact and George Steele had chased Honky from the ring and to stall for more time, I had enough. And eventually, George Steele chased Jimmy Hart to the back for the count-out finish. But as I was saying, after that they showed one of the very first Ted DiBiase vignettes, and Virgil was speaking. A lot.
Really?
I think he apparently spoke in this one promo, and then never again for the rest of his career.
They realized he shouldn't be talking?
I think he was silent from then until the day he declared his name was Mike Jones.
Mike Jones. He should have music by Mike Jones the rapper.
Sure.
That was Mike Jones, the wrestler's theme music, was by Mike Jones. And boy, that was just wrong. If those of you that ever saw Mike Jones, which would be all of you, the wrestler, not the recording artist, he sucked. He was fantastically white. He should not have been coming out to this music.
Mike Knox is back.
Mike Knox has returned.
We missed him. He has improved somewhat. He is no longer the most useless guy in the roster. Now, he came out in the entranceway, and he struck a pose. And it was a pose so odd, I didn't think it was actually meant to be a pose. I thought he just paused momentarily. But then, after the match, he struck his pose again.
Yeah.
Now, everyone, I want you to hold your right arm out straight from your body at about 9 o'clock. Take your left arm, hold it out at about 1:30. So your right arm is straight out, and your left arm is halfway between straight up and straight out. That's Mike Knox's pose. What the hell is that?
Well,
it's the Knox.
It's the Knox. Maybe
that's his gimmick. He does this. Sounds awesome.
He has a powerful weapon. He charges 1,000,000 a shot. And second to none.
The man with a 10-inch cock.
Something out your way. A crowd's gonna move from somewhere. In the next room of this very one.
The man with a 10-inch cock.
I must have missed that Bond movie. Roger Moore is James Bond in The Man with the 10-inch cock.
Yes. The man with the 10-inch cock. Then we had Gina Carano and Tanya Evinger.
This was the fight that had the greatest line of commentary ever.
Oh, God.
No, I need to tell this story, and I had to start at the beginning.
Oh, boy.
As soon as Nails saw Miss Evinger, he, how can I put this? He suggested she was into girls. We laughed, and then the fight started, and Ronaldo was talking at the press conference. He noted that at the press conference, Evinger has said she'd rather make out with Carano than fight her. So it turns out Tony was right. She is, in fact, into girls. This is one of those moments that the commentary just died for a while.
Well, if I were a straight woman, I'd still be into Gina Carano.
She's really attractive.
All girls are lesbians. We've talked about this before. Yes. It's just a fact.
So Bill Goldberg notes that he was not going to touch this comment with a 25-foot pole. So Mauro Ranallo, the greatest man alive, interjected, I'd like to touch it with a 25-centimeter pole.
Yes.
Which makes him quite a large man, but...
Well, that's actually the best part, is that 25 centimeters is roughly 10 inches. That's perfect. Mauro Ranallo is, in fact, the man with the 10-inch cock.
He is. I heard that, and I thought, is it possible that this was a shout-out to the Figure 4 Empire, that he is the man with the 10-inch cock?
Iron Sheik is actually referring to Mauro when he was ranting about that.
This was crazy.
So I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And so that was the greatest moment of the show.
Nils?
That's pretty sad. That's the greatest moment of the show.
Oh, I disagree. That was a great moment.
Nails, your thoughts on the fight as a whole?
Who cares?
I am the man with the 10-inch cock.
I love that drop.
I am the man with the 10-inch cock.
Howard Stern has had enough.
He is.
You have crossed the line, Mr. Iron Sheik. You've offended my delicate sensibilities.
He can't take it anymore when Sheik starts talking about his 25-centimeter penis. Anyway, that fight was fun in a perverse sort of way.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
So we're going to talk here about Unforgiven, and I suspect we'll be done by the 46-minute mark. This was a useless show.
It was poor.
It was, actually, I would go as far as to say, utter shit.
What's the plural of penises? Or what's the plural of penis? Because that's what this sucked.
Yes. I believe it's peni. I can actually check right now.
Oh, wondrous internet. What will you teach us next?
I'm afraid if I type in penile, what I might get. It's in the Urban Dictionary. Some ignorami stuck their peni in my Linux box, and now they're borkin.
Wow. Huh. I don't know if that confirms you're sure you're not.
Peni can be used in many different forms. Peni can be supplemented for a plural of penis.
Aha!
A popular male organ. Okay, I gotta read this whole thing.
I want to see that poll.
Humans can play with this organ, and it should make noises as each organ played with is different. A peni are numerous amounts of these organs in all different shapes and sizes to be enjoyed by the general public.
Something's gone wrong.
Let me read some of these. This is the Urban Dictionary, which is awesome for those of you that have never been on it. Peni, an attempted humorous pluralization of the word penis. As with other words from Latin that end with is, such as crisis and neurosis, penis changes the is to es, forming penis.
So penis. So this match stuck penis then.
As crisis changed to crises and neurosis to neuroses.
Okay, we did learn something today.
Only urologists
Mauro Ronaldo would be proud of us right now.
and a handful of other professionals use the word penis. However, so it's best to stick to the English plural penises. An assortment of penises. Help! This jungle of peni is attacking me. Peni. When there's a whole lot of wangs about. Look, I'm surrounded by a bunch of peni. A whole lot of wangs about.
About. Not around.
By anonymous. Nobody could take credit for that one. Peni. A really, really small penis. So small it isn't allowed the S on the end. Huh. Peni. A brutal South California white power gang.
Oh, dear, that's not funny.
PEN1 or PENI is an abbreviation of Public Enemy Number 1. Huh. Peni, the plural form of penises, usually used during a 3 or more sum. Oh my God, look at all this peni.
Wait, that doesn't even make grammatic sense.
I don't need to read the rest of that one. Peni, multiple weenies. Peni, a really big penis or a raging flock. Multiple. Dude, look at those gay guys' peni. Peni, an adjective pertaining to the anarchist punk goth band Rudimentary Peni. Usually insane, terrifying, or in some way akin to mental illness. Wow. I love this thing right here. We may have to go to the Urban Dictionary every day and read a random word.
I don't know, we may have peaked with when there's a whole lot of wangs about.
Here's one, penicular manslaughter.
Oh dear.
Commonly defined as an intentional beheading of the penis in which the offender had no prior intent to decapitate the one-eyed wonder worm. Usually occurring in the heat of passion.
I don't like the fact that this usually occurs in anything.
I like that there are tags and one of them is one-eyed wonder worm. Let's talk about the Ultimate Fight Night show first. Or the Fight Night show.
Did it again.
As mentioned earlier, I don't know why it's no longer Ultimate. Now, we should have called this the Ultimate Bryan and Vinny show so that we could eventually drop the Ultimate part from it. So it would just be, I don't know. The show may be giving this show too much credit. The actual...
What's happened to you?
You're channeling...
Are you drinking?
No, I'm just saying, you know? Saying that this is a show...
You're channeling Robert right now.
How dare you? By the way, if anybody...
You're not making any sense so far in this show.
If anybody has
Finales when there's premieres...
If anybody has not been on the board lately, there's a feud There's a feud brewing.
There is?
There's a great feud brewing between Samuel and Rovert.
Oh, God.
What a pair.
This is the main event. This is the main event of the 3 years of this. And unfortunately, neither man is willing to engage. It's so far, it's a snoozer. Like, both guys have made threats. As they would say in TNA, both men have made idle threats. And that's as far as this has progressed. They aren't man enough to really go at each other. So I'm hoping that
Well, is that really a big surprise?
well, I don't know. Sorta, kind of. Rovert's an arguer, as is Samuel.
Samuel's a great arguer. Well, he's a prolific arguer.
They refuse to argue with each other. I believe they fear each other.
Interesting.
Pussies. But anyway, I just wanted to read something from the Urban Dictionary, and that was very popular last time. But I mentioned show, and I was trying to think of a definition for show, because the Bryan and Vinny show, I didn't know if it was technically a show that we're doing here. And the Urban Dictionary, unfortunately, does not have a definition for show, but it does have show off, which is someone that flaunts their money by paying people to do stupid things, such as eating an aluminum foil Cheetos bag for $100. Never had a friend do that. Someone who makes fun of others solely because they are not as wealthy. Someone whose main insult line is, quote, I can buy and sell 100 of you. There you go. Show off.
That's your Urban Dictionary segment for the day.
That's right. No more. Now
we're like everything else in the show, it's not as good as we usually do.
No, we're going to be serious about this now. Also, someone who routinely takes friends out to steakhouses for lunch or dinner and proceeds to pay for everyone. Show off. I actually would not consider a person like that a show off.
That's a friend.
I would consider that person a great man.
I want to make him my friend.
That's right. All right. Let's try slut here real quick.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I was looking at, I realized that Urban Dictionary segment failed, but there was another words that started with S, and the first one I saw was slut.
I thought you were referring to the South Lake Union Transit.
A woman with the morals of a man.
There you go.
Nails doesn't understand. He's too white. There was a wedding today on SmackDown. It was, as all weddings are in wrestling, an utter train wreck. If I have a heart attack during my wedding, which actually, by the time I get married, is a very likely possibility, but that would suck. That would suck.
Thank you for the analysis there, Dr. Alfred.
And no wrestlers are coming to my wedding, and no midgets. I've already made this decision here. And no pimps. Although plenty of black folk, I've decided.
You made that decision?
Somebody made the comment that this was the blackest SmackDown in history, and it's undoubtedly true. And thus, this was the SmackDown with the most soul that we've ever seen. Speaking of black fellas, where in the world has, what's his name? Not Ron Simmons, the other one.
Butch Reed?
It's been gone so long I forgot his name.
It's been gone for 15 years or so.
Where the fuck has Butch Reed been?
I don't know.
He was the coolest dude on the show. He didn't even do anything.
He was just Hacksaw Butch Reed.
His existence. I was like, shit. This man should be on my TV every single week. Butch Reed. He's got to be a recurring character from now on.
I'd be fine with that.
I would be fine as well.
You can hang out with Ron Simmons again.
There were two black fellows on the show that, however, do get a thumbs down. The Yin Yang Twins. If I never see these men again, my life will be complete. What annoying men.
They make annoying music.
I'm sure they're nice guys.
Yes.
I'm sure they're exciting people to be around. But there was too much of them on this show. They were hosting the show with Maria and talking to everybody. And I don't know.
There's a lot of catchphrases in music and wrestling. You know, Little John's always going, okay and yeah, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan says, ho. One of the Yin Yang Twins is a catchphrase, and it is to make the world's most annoying sound.
He quacks.
As performed in Dumb and Dumber. He just makes the world's most annoying noise into this every segment.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Never do I need to hear this again.
No,
this was a failure. This proves that not all black people are just cool.
That's your lesson in race roles in America today, kids.
Now, there was an argument on the board about this very fact.
The board now.
Our board, believe it or not. There was an argument about it. And, there was one argument that all black people are cool. And then there was the other half of the argument that said, well, that's racist. you know? Even though it's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
But this proves that...
Either way, it's false.
It's false, yes. It is patently false.
I suspect the person arguing that all black people were cool was in fact a white guy who only saw black people on TV.
Now, there were also a number of uncool white people on this show. And there were a few cool ones as well.
The uncool white people definitely outnumbered the uncool black people.
The story of this show was that all races have cool and uncool people in them. The black fellas had a whole bunch of cool brothers on the show, and then the yin-yang twins. And the white folk had Tommy Dreamer on the cool end of the spectrum. You should have seen this man decked out. And then on the uncool end of the spectrum was, I think, every other wrestler at the wedding.
Pretty much.
Anybody on the board who has the temerity to state that I have poor fashion sense can suck my dick.
So you're saying, unlike Sergeant Slaughter, you would not show up at a wedding in a camouflage T-shirt?
Sergeant Slaughter I gave a bye to. He's elderly. I'm talking about the rest of these geeks. Some of the outfits that these guys were wearing baffled me. And I'm not just talking about Balls Mahoney, who was wearing a suit jacket, a tie, his own T-shirt, and shorts.
His gear, yes.
And knee pads.
Yes, he was ready to fight.
Knee pads! These guys were dressed like such goons. And I just looked at them and I thought, this is a true gathering of wrestlers at a wedding. Yes. Nothing is fake here.
Yes.
Everybody was probably told, dress as you would dress to go to a real wedding. And this is what these geeks decided to wear. Just embarrassing.
I want to go back now.
I was embarrassed for the wrestling business.
I want to go back and watch that with you and have you critique everyone's outfit.
Oh, I could really go on.
I know, that's why it's a good idea.
If we had a TV here, I'd just go off. The only one I remember, besides Balls Mahoney, was Tommy Dreamer, who actually did have a fine outfit.
Tommy Dreamer had a very cool hat.
He was dressed like a gangster out of 1920.
He was just like Rocky at his best.
It was a fine outfit.
I was also stunned, not even impressed. I was stunned. We've often mentioned that CM Punk usually looks like he has not showered or slept in weeks. He cleans up good.
Yeah.
He looks fine.
Yep.
I think for the first time ever.
So, speaking of goofballs, Jeff Hardy. I realize that drugs are a hot topic in wrestling, and I shouldn't be accusing anybody of anything, but if Jeff Hardy was ever on drugs during a show, tonight was the night. He was wearing a wacky outfit, and he's just danced all night long.
Yes.
A hoedown.
With no music.
There's no better way to explain what he was doing than a jig at a hoedown.
Maria introduced him to the Yin Yang Twins. They marked out for his belt. They wanted to hold it. They were carrying it. They're talking about how cool they were. And then, I don't know, they invited Jeff to dance or challenged him to dance, and Jeff cut a rug. he cut it at odd angles with a blunt instrument, but damn it, he cut it. And they approved. They were fine with it, Jeff.
Fantastic train wreck television this was.
Yes.
Teddy was backstage when the Reverend Bruce walked in. He is a fat comedian who has two names because he is the equivalent of two men.
One for each set of 400 pounds he weighs.
I will give him credit, though, for a giant fat man. He moves well. When he came down to the ring for the wedding, he was moving.
He's gigantic.
He was hauling that ass.
Yeah, he moved well, and then when Jagged Edge came out to do the song, he was shaking, and he could go.
Granny, turn the volume down for about 15 seconds while I explain what happened next. Butch Reed was there. He wanted to know how Krystal fucked. And Teddy said, I can't talk about that. There's a reverend here. So Bruce said, well, in my pimpin' days, I did my fair share of fucking. And Teddy said, seriously, we have not yet consummated the marriage.
Wait, it gets better.
Yes. We have not yet consummated the marriage.
I would like better when he said, tonight I'm going to make her holla, holla, holla.
I forgot that.
And they all marked out.
I just got the line about he had not consummated the marriage, and I could just hear no more.
It was both. It was two different lines that no human being would ever actually say. But when he announced he was going to make her holla, holla, holler, and all the black men were happy, and everyone in the world was happy, this is a great segment.
I have not yet consummated the marriage. Failure! What a failure on the part of Teddy Long. What a failure.
Wow, dude.
He's never going to get none now.
Well,
Think about
that's
that.
true.
That's why you should always consummate the marriage before the marriage. You never know when you might have a heart attack during the ceremony. And that would suck.
Here's your lesson for the day from Reverend Bryan Alvarez.
From another reverend. That's right. Fuck when you can.
I can't argue with you, by the way. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just pointing out it's kind of ironic.
Then we had Krystal backstage with her crew, and in walked Jagged Edge, who sang a song to her, showed themselves to be infinitely more talented than the twins, and she swooned, and that was that. It was time for the wedding.
Indeed.
Reverend Bruce came out, all the wrestlers in their whole attire, and then the midget came out and sat next to Vince and Coach on a phone book. So, a lot of hijinks ensued. First, we got Krystal falling down as she walked up the stairs, so somebody saw the Good Luck Chuck preview. And then we had Jagged Edge singing a song off their album Baby Making Music. Indeed. Then we had Jeff Hardy doing more dancing, and then Jillian came out to sing. She was dragged backstage. And then Godfather came out with the hose. Krystal shrieked in terror. Godfather reminded Teddy of all the fun they used to have, and Teddy said, yes, but right now, I just want to spend the rest of my life with my girl. And so Godfather said, someone must want to take a ride. So after Farouk was shot down, all the male wrestlers in the entire audience, including Balls Mahoney, which of course killed ECW, got up and left with the Godfather, leaving Vince, Coach, the midget, Pat Patterson, of course, Gerald Briscoe, and the girls. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So then Bruce said, let's just get this damn thing over with, and they were about to read the vows, and the midget ran in the ring, went under Krystal's skirt, Coach went after him, and then Vince ran after both, and immediately, any of you who have the capabilities to do this, please make an animated JPEG or GIF or whatever it is of Vince McMahon running. Now!
It was phenomenal.
It will be my new avatar.
It was great. It was Vince's strut in Fast Forward.
I've never seen a greater moment than Vince McMahon running.
Vince McMahon and Coach running after a midget.
I just wanted to see it over and over on my screen. So please, somebody make that for me. So then Bruce said, let's do these goddamn vows right now. Krystal said, I do. Teddy was about to say, I do. And then I want everyone to... Here's what happened, basically. Teddy tried to say, I do, but he began sputtering and then got a wacky look on his face and then clutched his heart and then fell and landed face first on the mat. And the entire thing took 1 second. It was the fakest fake heart attack I've ever seen in my entire life. The EMTs ran out, put the oxygen mask on him, stretchered him out. The show ended. Teddy Long is dead. Actually, I bet it comes out that Krystal poisoned him. Teddy Long is not dead.
It'd be much better than he just had a random heart attack.
Teddy poisoned him, and she's going to leave with a new man, and it'll be the new mystery. What man? What man perverted Krystal?
I'd like to.
Yeah, that was SmackDown, everybody.
This wedding was awesome.
I loved this show.
This wedding was great. The one highlight you did not mention was there was a point where when Jack Edge was doing their song and they were encouraging the fans to wave their arms back and forth, and everyone in the ring was encouraging the fans to wave their arms back and forth, and then it cut to a shot of the wrestling audience, the wrestlers in the rampway in their chairs, and they were all in unison waving their arms back and forth. All these violent men, these hated rivals. They were all in this show of love for their coworkers. They were waving their arms back and forth to the song, except Vince, who was too stoic to wave his arms. However, in the spirit of things, he was rocking back and forth.
Yes.
This was great.
Yes.
This was a beautiful wedding. My wedding will have midgets, I've decided.
Yeah.
This wedding looked like fun.
Good. I'll get Little Nasty Boy at your wedding.
Not that midget.
By the way, for those of you that are on the board and saw the article I posted the other day about the man suing God.
Oh, yes. I think I know what you're going to say.
What?
God has responded.
No.
Oh.
Well, sort of. He has an attorney now.
Yeah.
The mystery of one response to a lawsuit against God has been solved. Eric Perkins, an attorney in Corpus Christi, said Friday he filed a response to the lawsuit from Nebraska State Senator Ernie Chambers. It's kind of a turn on what would Jesus do, Perkins said. I thought to myself, what would God say? So apparently he will now be representing God.
See, the story I had read, it mentioned this one, but what it actually said was they found paperwork on their desk at work, and no one knew how it got there. And it was return. I don't know the legal term, but it was a return papers filed by God in response to this lawsuit against him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Perkins, who said he's a Christian, faxed one of at least 2 responses to Chambers' lawsuit. He said, well, he hopes the lawsuit was just a stunt by Chambers. Quote, maybe his timing has something to do with world affairs. I'd hate to be that person who sat back and did nothing.
So he's concerned if he does not countersue on God's behalf, something horrible will happen.
Chambers, a self-proclaimed agnostic, said he's trying to make the point that anybody can sue anybody. Yeah, no shit. He said his filing was triggered by a federal lawsuit he considers frivolous. St. Michael the Archangel is listed as a witness. It is not clear where a second response from God came from. There was no contact information on the filing, which turned up on the counter at the Douglas County Court Office. That's where St. Michael was listed as a witness. Wow.
Big news.
As for Chambers' contention that God made terroristic threats, inspired fear, and caused, quote, widespread death, destruction, and terrorization,
what?
Perkins wrote that God, quote, contends that any harm or injury suffered is a direct and proximate result of mankind ignoring obvious warnings. This is a fascinating case. So yeah, that's the latest, everybody. We'll talk to you at some
by the
point.
way,
What's
you
up?
calling me Gary has sparked a little bit of debate on the board. People thought you were insane.
People don't know why.
So I presume you're waiting to tell the story.
No, I'm just saying you might want to, fill in the listening audience.
We never do that. A lot of inside jokes here on the show.
Go to the thread on the board from last week.
Why don't you just tell everybody, Gary, and get it over with?
I don't care, dude.
You brought it up!
No, I don't care about the story, I mean. Anyway.
Look at me. I have no idea where this just went.
All right, well, we're just going to keep it a secret then, Craig. How do you like that?
Okay, so when Bryan and I used to wrestle back in, a long time ago, there was this old wrestler. His name was Jerry Morrow.
Fine man.
Great man. He's a very large African-American man from France, if that makes any sense. And he has a thick French accent, and he asked me one day in his accent, are you Gary Albright's son? And I told him no, and he kept calling me, Bryan, do the Gary.
I can't do it. Yes,
like,
the wrong Frenchman.
Getty. And every time he saw me, he called me Gary, and so now Bryan calls me Gary, and I call him Barry, and it's kind of a thing.
It's actually quite the compliment, because if you were Gary Albright's son, he would have had you at approximately age 6, I believe. So, what can you do?
Hello?
I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Hello?
I love you, let me jump in your game.
Hello?
I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Hello?
I love you, let me jump in your game.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Big.
Hello?
Granny,
Yes?
what's new?
Not much.
I don't know if you have any words you'd like to say to anybody. Maybe Ted the Trailer Mcnailer.
Well, the thing of that one is, I didn't hear what he said about me, but all I got to say is about that little weenie is I'm inviting him over to my house to arm wrestle.
Now, everyone, I want you to know that that's a very real threat, because Granny, you used to beat me in arm wrestling until I was 16 years old.
Yes.
And I had been lifting weights for 2 years at that point. And I had been doing gymnastics. And you still beat me in arm wrestling, because you were a fence builder at the time.
That's right, and building picnic tables and...
Had some pretty big guns on you.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and Ted Mcnailer now at age 21 is significantly smaller and frailer than I was at 16. So you'd kick his ass.
Ted Mcnailer has not been building fences and tables.
No,
I guarantee you this.
Or lifting weights. In
Probably
fact.
not.
Or tanning.
That's true.
How could I find out what he said about me?
Well, I think we'll try and I think when I can find some of them on YouTube, I'll send you a link and you can watch the video.
Oh, and tell him also that after arm wrestling, we can sit and watch Car 54 because I have the tape.
That's great news.
That really is great news, actually. I'll make sure that he hears that one there, Granny. All right, well, we'll have you back on next week for the next Dancing with the Stars update, and maybe you'll have seen more Ted Mcnailer by then. You can give him another piece of your mind.
Okay.
All right.
All righty.
We'll talk to you after a while.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
You know, Granny cuts a way better promo than I do.
Yeah, that's true. So that clearly skips several generations, actually.
Wow.
And they've got to use that on the air somehow.
She gave him a piece of her mind.
She called him a little weenie. She hasn't even seen him and she knows.
And she threatened to arm wrestle him, and
yes.
And she would win. I'm confident of that. So.
Dustin Hoffman and
Sheik
in
Kramer
versus
Kramer.
I just got to phone the office before they go. Joe, you're going to be real proud of me.
I'm leaving you.
You break my heart.
Did you know that all the best chefs are men?
You are fag, you are punk, little gay.
What makes you so sure he doesn't want me?
I'm not Michael Jackson. Right. I like woman.
I'm not saying he doesn't need his father, but I really believe he needs me more.
You have to be lesbian.
My wife says that she loves Billy, and I believe she does, but I'd like to know what law is it that says that a woman is a better parent simply by virtue of her sex?
You are worse than Hulk Hogan.
How does it feel?
Good.
Okay, keep going. Keep it going. Keep it going. It's terrific.
Break his back, make him humble, and then fuck his ass.
Oh, that's terrific. How do you feel?
The great feeling all time I had all my life.
Great.
Kramer versus
Kramer, you gonna so late. Gonna see the Iron Sheik.
All I know is the original movie sounds horrible. Wow.
All I remember about that movie is it came out when I was like 5, and we had home box office, and the air commercials for it all the time, and I never saw it.
I'm not going to go out of my way to check that one out.
No.
Unless Sheik is involved, in which case I absolutely would. So anyway, Nails, we're going to wrap it up today, and apparently you will be skipping out on Pasta tomorrow. Your loss.
Oh, they changed kickoff on me. Too bad.
Who are the Huskies playing?
USC.
Is it just me, or is this like their 18th home game in a row?
What's that?
Is it just me, or is this like their 18th home game in a row?
Except for when they were in UCLA last week.
Except for that.
Why'd you skip it? It sounded like you had a deep sigh when you said UCLA or whoever.
It was. I haven't missed a game, Brian, since I believe it was 96 or so.
Okay, well, skip one now and you won't have to worry about it.
No.
What a
poor argument. Poor argument, Brian.
Shitty streak. Who ever heard of a streak like this? I'm just going to stop watching. I can't say that. That's people will hold me to it.
Mr. Raw.
I have missed Raw since 1996. All right, Nils, we're hanging up on you.
All
right, Joe. Football.
Hell of a big finish to that phone call.
Between football and Survivor, I just can't believe what people watch. Such shit.
No, it's not.
And SmackDown and ECW and TNA and Raw, also shit.
Those are.
God, just shit. Football. I don't even want to get on a big football rant, but just the whole idea of football just turns my stomach.
See, here's the fundamental difference between you and me. And it's not that I like football and you don't. It's that if there's a program on and I don't want to watch it, I just don't watch it. And if other people watch it, I don't care.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Here's the difference. There's a major difference. We had a fun get-together scheduled for tomorrow, and Nails is skipping out on it because of football. A game which he has pretty much admitted he doesn't even care about. That aspect of this turns my stomach.
I suspect he'll have fun.
I don't. I bet he has a miserable time, and his Huskies get trounced.
Well, that's actually likely.
And beaten horribly.
Yes, that's quite possible.
And he eats a hot dog, and it's got an eyeball in it. And he just sits there and he cries.
I should also add
because
that
he could have been at the never-ending Possible.
There was a big story in the Seattle PI this week about what a horrible stadium Husky Stadium is and how it could collapse at any second.
I told you. I'm telling you right now. That's what drives me crazy about the fanaticism. This would just be like it would be like a person who's such a workout fanatic that when their friends all go out to dinner, they just skip out because it's not an eating day.
You've done that.
Not recently. I've turned over a new leaf. I've become normal.
To a degree.
Sure. But, no, I didn't skip out on dinner. I would still go to dinner. I just maybe wouldn't eat as much as I normally would. But totally skipping out because of a sporting event. And it's not even like Fedor and Couture, which happens one time in your life. How many times have the Huskies and UCLA had a game against each other?
Once a year?
1,000,000 times!
Well, no, 100 times, but...
Still 100 times! You miss it this year, they're gonna have it next year. Once Fedor and Couture happens for the first time, that first time is never gonna happen again. That I can understand missing out on. I can't understand missing the never-ending Possible to go to a fucking football game that you don't even want to see just because you have a streak going back to 1996. And I don't even want to get into Survivor or your whole wacky deal of having 18 TVs on so you can watch 18 different games at the same time. Craziness!
Because Bryan knows what's best for everybody.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy behavior.
I can't deny that.
That's right.
I do have a level of obsession that may border on unhealthiness.
That's what I'm trying to say. If everybody just wants to watch a football game here and there, I'm fine with that. Obsession over football drives me crazy. Tony is obsessed. Unacceptable. You're obsessed. Unacceptable. Ever just watch a game here and there?
Why don't I just watch wrestling here and there?
Because it's a job!
It's a fucking miserable job.
So what? Tons of people have miserable jobs.
They should quit.
And you could
I have no kids. I should quit.
You could have a far, far more miserable job than this one. You could be bagging groceries at Top Food.
Dude, don't get me started on this. You sent out, when we had the little thing where I suggested stopping the show if Impact went to 2 hours, you sent me an email pointing out what I could do with the money I made. And I thought to myself, I can make more per hour at 7-Eleven.
But you're not at 7-Eleven.
But I could be. If I was doing this for money, I would just go to 7-Eleven.
I would bet right now, I know you will deny this, but I will bet right now that next week, when we watch 2 hours of TNA, if you would actually go to 7-Eleven and work there for 2 hours, I guarantee the next week you'd say, let's just watch TNA. Think of the people that would come into that 7-Eleven.
A lot of freaks. A lot of weirdos.
Think of the problems that people have in the real world, especially people that go into 7-Eleven. You would be out there washing people's windows and fixing the gas pump and fixing the hot dog machine.
That's what I would do.
Be held up, I'm sure.
Occasionally.
Yes, they would be far, far worse. Everyone, stop being obsessed. Just everybody relax a little bit. And stop watching Survivor. I'm putting my foot down. Survivor is banned in the Empire from this point forward, especially now that Ashley's gone.
There's no reason to watch it anymore.
There's not. There wasn't even a reason to watch it when she was on. All right.
Let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, I'm talking to you. Come on.
It's from Mr. Al. B&V, Mr. Al here, cashing in my shout-out. It's been a great displeasure to have spent much of this year in prison, or at Her Majesty's pleasure, as we say in jolly old England. Thankfully, though, my weekly dose of F4W helped to keep a smile on my face while keeping me up to date with the weird and wacky world of pro wrestling. Thanks to my mom for subscribing.
I'm entertaining inmates.
To my amazing fiancée, Nikki, for printing and sending each issue. And to Bryan for writing it. Oh, and thanks to the appeal court for seeing sense and letting me come home. Freedom rules!
Woohoo, yeah!
In closing, I must say that prison sucks, but in case you were wondering, I wasn't humbled at any time in Cheeky's old country style. I remain a master of my own domain. Right. Now to catch up on the old shows. Cheers, guys. Mr. Al.
Mr. Al. Okay, that's my new favorite shout-out.
That is the best shout-out we've ever seen.
That was awesome.
Wow.
He made his point. He did so in an entertaining manner. He did not drag it out too long. He made his exit.
And he's free now.
And he's free, and freedom rules.
We entertained him while he was in Her Majesty's pleasure.
USA. Oh, wait.
That's right, Mr. Al.
Anyway.